New chapter to that story. This project is also a testament to Illinois' strong economic development ecosystem. Our partnerships extend far beyond our county lines. From landowners and local businesses, from our county engineer to the Urbana-Champaign Sanitary District, to the elected officials who've been assistance along the way, to our partners at IMA and Rural Partners Illinois, the IFAB Tech Hub, our Mid-Illinois Collaborative, DCO, Team Red, all of Team Illinois. Together, we're creating connected communities, advancing regional economies, growing our talent pool, mobilizing business and government, and civic leaders around a shared strategy. Working as one, we're proving that collaboration in rural Illinois can deliver world-class results. And so today, with Coronas choosing Tuscola and Douglas County, we're sending a message that fits perfectly with our state's vision. If you want to build, innovate, and grow, be in Illinois. It's now my honor to introduce Mark Densler with the Illinois Manufacturers.
Good morning and welcome to Decatur. As many of you know, I'm a proud native of Decatur. It's always great to stand with the mayor. The sun's always shining on Decatur, for those of you that don't get here often. But what an exciting day and week to be in the Soy City at the globally renowned Farm Progress Show to hear about this exciting update from Cronus Chemicals in Tuscola. We are in the middle of the best farmland in America, which also happens to be the best-in-class manufacturing. Our state's industrial sector employs 650,000 workers directly while contributing the single largest share of our state's economy. Today's announcement about Cronus by the governor, along with the partners, Director Costello, the great folks at the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Development, demonstrate the great microcosm and important relationship between manufacturing and agriculture. And I want to give a big shout out to the governor and the team. As he mentioned, he is the chief marketing officer of the state, but this is the best toolbox that I've seen in my 30 years of doing this. So kudos to the governor, members of the General Assembly for creating an opportunity for these companies to grow and expand here. It's great to see Brian Moody and the EDC and the mayor who worked for 42 years at Cabot, another great manufacturer, along with partners like Clayco, who have been involved in this project for a decade in dealing with the various hurdles and overcome to finally make this project a reality. Cronus will be creating the first world-scale ammonia fertilizer plant in Tuscola, creating a product used by farmers across the world. At capacity, it's going to produce 950,000 tons of ammonia, which are readily available and using cheap natural gas as the key feedstock. The project, importantly, also uses carbon capture and storage. a safe and proven technology to trap and store 90% of the carbon dioxide, meaning lower emissions, significantly reduced emissions. Illinois has the industry, technology, and geology to be the national leader in CCS. And we're only a short distance at the Richland community from the Carbon Sequestration Center on this beautiful campus. Today's announcement is a win-win-win for Illinois and the land of Lincoln. A $2 billion investment, 130 good new full-time jobs in addition to transportation, a local manufacturer creating fertilizer for our local farmers, our local communities, while also the ability to sell it around the United States and around the world. This is more fantastic news under the governor's leadership for Central Illinois and for the state of Illinois. And with that, we'll bring Governor Pritzker back for questions. Thank you.
Happy to take any questions from members of the media. Yes, sir.
We're looking at 12 or 13 years since Corona's kind of planted their flag over there. Are we close to shovels in the ground? Is this actually going to happen, or will we be back 12 more years?
That's why we're making this announcement. There's not been an announcement like this one before. But in terms of how close we are, I mean, I think the latest conversation has been had with Brian. So if you wouldn't mind, Brian, I'm going to have you come up and just give a little background.
Yes, I think the project is further along than it has been before. There have been a few challenges in recent years. The project's lived through a pandemic and a few global crises. But yes, I think the project developers feel like the project is on track. We feel good about where they're at. We've secured all the necessary agreements, and I think it's ready to move forward.
Hey, Governor.
Great. Yes, sir. Brendan.
The President issued an executive order yesterday targeting state and local jurisdictions that eliminated cash bail as a management of child release. The order threatens to slash federal grants and contracts coming to Illinois. First, your reaction, and second, have you discussed the response if the administration policy?
We have not yet discussed a response, and I can say that it's clear that the president really hasn't read any of the background or actually what's happened as a result of the law being put in place. People are showing up for trial at the exact same rate that they were showing up before, which is terrific, exactly what we had hoped. And most importantly, people who've committed violent crimes are being kept in jail more often and for longer than they were when we had cash bail. So I believe that that'll be part of the discussion when the case gets brought, because there'll either be a case or there'll be a conversation with the federal government about it. But they need to understand better why it's working and why punishing states that, well, the only state that has done it makes no sense. And in fact, it's working and should probably happen in other states as well.
Governor, what are the resources that are here in this area?
Yeah.
Raw resources and the resources of the state that make this the location to establish the fertilizer facility, and how would we expect fertilizer prices for local farmers to be affected by this production?
I can't speak to the exact effect on the market, except to say that obviously when you increase supply, and particularly locally, right, and there's not a lot of transportation costs, that's going to bring costs down for people who otherwise had been importing, especially now that we've got tariffs, significant tariffs that are raising prices. So we're very happy about that. That's going to be much better for our farmers. I would say the other factor is just, you know, they're locating it here because the farms are here, because the producers are here, because this is the place that the investment is going to pay off greatest for the company, and that's why they've chosen it. That's why they've hung in there, just like the mayor and the economic development staff have hung in there over the years, because this just makes a whole lot of sense. And finally, I think all of the collective effort plus the state incentives have come together to make this possible.
But natural gas availability, that's one of the keys. What other resources are here that make, again, this the place?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Natural gas is a key aspect and one of the main reasons of the original interest in our site. Significant rail, there's 3 Class 1 railroads in close proximity to Tuscola and to this area, 2 directly at the site. The transportation network is there. We're a couple miles off Interstate 57, U.S. Route 45, U.S. Route 36, and as the governor said, right in the heart of the corn market here in East Central Illinois. So I think it's a perfect fit.
Sir, I'm just going to say that the investments in our transportation infrastructure have made a big difference in our being able to attract companies to the state. You all remember that in years past, infrastructure crumbling, no investment really in our highways and our rail and so on. Now we're the best in the country. I mean, we're among the top 5 as ranked by CNBC, and I would say we are the best in the country, mainly because we've got so much traffic going on, and yet we have maintained and modernized our infrastructure. So, sorry. Yes, sir.
Just talk a little more about the time. When do you expect fertilizer production to actually occur?
So it is estimated to be about a 40-month build, so about 40 months. So I would think essentially once groundbreaking occurs, about a 3.5-year period before ammonia would actually be produced at the facility.
And happy to say that thousands of union jobs are being created by the construction. That it may take a little while, but a whole lot of jobs are getting created in the meantime. Yes, sir. Well, one thing I would say is that if you look at the economic development efforts that have come to fruition just over the last 6-7 years, they should have some real faith that we're really delivering. And I appreciate Mark's comments earlier, but I want to give credit to Mark and to the economic development professionals, because we have really put more shoulder to the wheel and delivered for the state of Illinois than has happened in an awful long time. I'm going to look at the nodding head of the mayor of Decatur too, because we've also worked in Decatur to bring jobs. So that's what I would say. I know that there are people who've had doubts. Look, there are people who've had doubts about the state of Illinois and our ability to finally balance the budget, which we've done for 7 years in a row now. But still, I know after many years, people are wondering, gee, are we going to fall back into that old way of being? The answer is no. And we proved that when we had a tough budget to get past this year, and we balanced it. Yes, sir.
Governor, I want to ask this question off the mark a little bit. You and I had a conversation probably 3 or 4 times, and I just read, I believe it was in Prairie Farmer, Dr. Paul Walker talking about this is the time to have livestock back in the Midwest in California. And we've got probably the most inefficient deal in the world where all calves out of Montana, hauled to Kansas to Texas, process them, all the corn from here down there, and the process beat that. We used to do this. I'm old enough to remember that. We did it all right here in Illinois.
Yeah.
And that would give some young people an opportunity. I went out twice the big grain cart, 600 horsepower tractor to pull it, and right at $1 million just 2 cents. I think that the state should try and work with banks so that not maybe giving the loan, leaving behind the loan. We could really have, manure down there is a problem. Here, organic matter is going to 5 to 6%. I just want to get some.
No, I appreciate it, and I'm going to ask Jerry to take, because we've done a lot in this area. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Sir, what I can tell you, in specific to the time that we're in right now, I know we talked a little bit about tariffs earlier. If you look at the average tariff or tax on tractors right now, in the last 7 months, it's gone up 16%. If you look at the average tariff on farm equipment in the last 7 months, it's gone up 13%. So barriers of entry costs have dramatically risen. As you're aware, interest rates are still fairly high. The ag economy in general, unless, to be blunt, you're in cattle and equine are probably the bright spots right now. It's a very, very tough space to operate. Logistics, which the governor just talked about, is, I would say outside of the great farmland we have, the incredible agriculture we have, the logistics of doing business in the state of Illinois are second to none. Our interstate system, Chicago is the rail hub of the United States. We have O'Hare. If you look at the rivers, our port system, which a ton of infrastructure dollars have gone into, as you know, moving products by barge is the most economic and environmentally friendly way to do it. We've got the Mississippi, we have the Great Lakes. So doing business in Illinois, which I think is the point that you're making agriculturally, it is an area that makes a lot of sense. From a feed yard perspective, which may be what you were talking about as well, that's an area where we can work with producers to try to grow the feed yards.
This will be the last question. Governor, if the president does indeed set the national guard to Chicago, besides lawsuits, besides speaking out against it, what can he actually do?
What are you suggesting? I mean, we follow the law here in Illinois. Let me be clear. And when there is federal law that applies, we follow that. Where there's state law that applies, we follow that. What we are doing in the state right now is making sure that the president and those folks in Washington who are thinking about sending troops on the ground in a major American city is that they understand that no one wants them to come, that crime is down, murders in particular, down 50% in the city of Chicago over the last 4 years, 30-some% over just the last year. So I think the president is still operating on some antiquated idea, and it frankly has had it in for Chicago since way before he even got elected in 2016. So we're doing our best to let them know. Also, if they decide to do it, we're going to make sure and go to court about it because, frankly, you're not allowed, according to Posse Comitatus Act, to send armed troops into an American city to fight crime. It's only in the event of an insurrection, and that's not happening.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.